Okay, I'm back for what I guess is part 3 of my long walk through this game. And I said it wasn't going to be an episode per death. And it has turned out that way for the last 2 episodes. But I think we might move a bit faster through the game now. Who knows? There is less to say. There is less that I have to keep to myself because I was trying not to jump ahead. I'm trying not to spoil the story at this point. As we go through, I'll be able to talk more naturally and move faster. Here we are in Barbara's room. And this is where... Well, let's just look. Here she is, getting her awards. If they are awards, they both look exactly the same. Bigfoot merchandise. Oh my gosh, they even had a doll. Fan mail, I guess that's fan mail.
Growing up, I always thought of Barbara as a child star. I never thought about how hard it must have been for her afterwards.
It's interesting, it's a smaller room than Molly had. And it's a smaller room than... Like, it's 2 rooms. Okay, it is kind of 2 rooms, but they are so small. It's like a sunroom or a sewing room or something that's been turned into a bedroom. It's so narrow. It's so... Like, it's nice, but... different. The boys had a proper room. Even Walter's room seems bigger. And both the boys and Walter were after her. She's definitely been in this room all along because we've got that plan in Molly's room which shows Molly and Barbara. They're the eldest too, so at the time of Molly's death, Barbara was 3 and she was in this room then. Yeah, it just seems so smaller than the others. And there's a lot to say here, but let's do the thing.
Of all the stories people wrote about Barbara's death, I'm surprised Edie saved this one.
Old Jack here with another ghastly tale inspired by America's most unfortunate family. I'm calling it The Surprise Ending of Barbara Finch. As a child star, Barbara was famous for her scream. Now at 16, she was all washed up, a has-been. But in a lucky break, she'd been asked to perform her signature scream at a local convention for monster movie fans. It was just the boost her career needed. Unfortunately, her scream hadn't aged well.
Getting better. I think you just need the right motivation.
Her biggest fan and current boyfriend, Rick, was about to demonstrate when...
Now that was a great scream.
It was Barbara's father, Sven. He'd slipped into a table saw and had to be rushed to the emergency room. So Barbara got stuck babysitting her youngest brother, Walter. Her convention comeback was cancelled.
Okay, I'm hearing frustration, but I'm not hearing terror. What if I tried...
A gang of hoodlums in Halloween masks have been terrorizing Orcas Island tonight. Police are urging residents to...
That came from the basement.
You're right! Also, I loved your delivery on that. Why is your basement door locked?
Because my dad likes making puzzles and secret passages. There's a key hidden in the music box. The secret is to keep winding and winding until finally the key pops out.
Thanks, babe. I'll be back in a sec.
20 minutes later, Rick hadn't returned. So Barbara went to look for him, right on cue. She reached for the music box. And as she wound the key, she listened for Rick, but the house was silent.
I would like to point out here that should have been opened if Rick went down. But it doesn't actually make sense that she had to do that as well.
She found Rick's crutch and imagined the worst.
I did consider for a bit that maybe I'd get some kind of achievement if I just knocked everything off.
The gang's leader is the infamous Hookman killer, Dr. Carl Hamill, who impaled and then ate his family 10 years ago tonight.
And these are interesting to see these here.
The old fridge rattled and grew still.
Oh dear!
Oh!
Rick?
Barb, relax. I was just trying to scare you to help you find your scream.
Well, I'm not scared, Rick. I'm furious.
Then act furious. All I'm getting from you now is that you're hurt and confused and
She threw him out, but she kept a little something to remember him by.
Barb, have you seen my other crutch?
And she was still holding it when she fell asleep watching the late picture show. Hours later...
Barbara!
That clock.
Walter? What's going
That
on
is
up there?
the clock and it's the time. I'll just
Okay,
mention that
I'm
now.
coming up.
That clock, that time.
But if this is a trick, you're dead, Walter.
Oh, that's right, I've got to move. See, even here, see the books are back. The books were not, I mean we didn't sit downstairs, but when Molly looked through the window, the books weren't there. So did the books turn up, like, that makes sense, but did the books turn up in the hallway after Molly's death? Then again, the house there's a lot more of them now.
Walter, are you there?
Walter had vanished, but his bedside radio was still on.
Orcas Island police describe the man as 6 feet tall, with a steel hook for a hand. Residents are urged to lock all doors and windows and notify the police of any suspicious activity.
I returned, saw the hookman, and was speechless. He was quite smashing.
She did so well.
He couldn't get enough of Barbara.
Okay, Barbara. There's gotta be another way out of here.
I just think that is so insane. I mean, I just just hit him in the nose, and I'm sorry about that. Look at that. Oh my gosh.
That night, she played her part beautifully.
Oh, the plant's not there. I mean, I know, this is just a story. Oh, look at how...
Molly's door hadn't been opened in years. The hinges groan.
What am I meant to do now?
He wasn't moving, but she sensed the story might not be over yet.
Skeleton's upstairs now. Oh no, it's a different one.
The hookman had vanished. She listened for his breathing, but all she heard was... Someone at the door was dying to speak to young Barbara. At the door, she heard whispering. It was coming from inside the house.
Oh dear.
The monsters had come to surprise her. For Barbara, it was a dream come true. Then she saw what kind of monsters they were, and she realized what was about to happen. She was going to be famous. And with her final breath, Barbara Finch gave the performance of her life. I wasn't there myself, but I hear Barbara was magnificent. Poor girl. She had a taste for stardom. But unfortunately, so did her fans. Of course, the police blamed it all on poor Rick, who disappeared this same night.
Interesting to
And
see the
little
house at that
Walter?
point.
Hiding under his bed the whole time. He took it all pretty hard, but that's another story. As for Barbara, tucked inside the music box is all they ever found of her. Her ear. Now that's what I call a real eerie tale.
Edie told me all Barbara wanted was to be remembered, as absurd as that comic was. Maybe what Edie saw was a happy ending.
Okay, so my thoughts here. So this was 1960. Calvin and Sam are 10. I wonder where they were on that night. And Walter was 8. When you look at it now, Sam, right, he lost his twin in 1961. She died in 1960. He lost a sister and a brother, like 1 year after the other. I mean, that must have been horrible. So close together. And she had only, like at the time that Calvin was sitting on that swing, I guess it was a year later, I don't remember the actual dates, but he was probably still grieving Barbara as well, because we don't know her relationship with them. It's just really sad. Anyway, what else? So here are my thoughts here. Like, initially, at this point when I did my first playthrough, I had the theory that Edie was killing them off, and I thought this one was kind of the clincher. She had 5 children, 3 of them have died, 2 of them seem to have died by preventable means. This one is just a mystery, what happened to her, because, like, unless it was the curse. If you believe in the curse theory, then maybe this could be perfectly literal. Maybe it was monsters. There was a YouTuber, what was his name? I forgot it here. There was a YouTuber whose name eludes me, and if I find it, I'll pop it up here, who did a really great playthrough of this. He decided that they all died doing something they loved, which I hadn't quite spotted, and I thought that was an excellent take. I think that is the curated story. They died doing something they loved, and I think it's Edie's story. But I also think that she may have manufactured what they wanted in order to have a good story. And I think this is sort of her rationale. Somebody did a series about it and came up with the idea of denial, that Edie maybe recognised that she was responsible for their death through neglect or whatever, and came up with these stories like as a way to live with herself. I think there's a bit of both those things, but there's more to it. And as I said at the start, the house is the constant. Whatever story we're told about them, about who they were, what they liked, we've got elements here that are the truth. So yes, she was a child star. Yes, it would have been very hard to come out of that. But look around her. She's working for Penelope's Diners. Was she washed out? A few people have mentioned, quite legitimately, that how could the person who put out this comic know about those details of her life? How could they know about the music box? How could they know her family structure? How could they know that Walter was home and she was babysitting? Like, it came from within the family. It seems pretty clear that Edie either spoke to the person who produced this or just had it produced herself, because she does seem to do that. She likes the literature. She likes to have books and things of people. So Edie was very, very engaged in the idea of Barbara as a child star, and I think it was Edie who probably felt that Barbara was washed out working at the diners. We don't know if Barbara had an issue with that. If she was actually wanting to be a star and keep being a star, and then she's got all this stuff here throwing in her face that she is now a has-been and hasn't got another role, like, that is just sad. So yeah, it all comes down to how you interpret it. It comes down to how much you believe is true. And if we take the idea in the comic that she had an opportunity for a comeback and then she had to babysit Walter instead, like, that's sad too. But I actually don't think any of that happened. Right, this is an addendum after the fact, because my views have changed a little bit since I recorded this. So here I am in Barbara's room, and I want to talk about who she was and what I think of her position here. Now, she was a child star. She was in a movie, and her whole room seems to be set up to glorify that time, which is kind of a horrible thing to do to a child with anything. Like, the pressure you put on somebody if they happen to do something great and you want them to do it again, or you want them to go on and do better, it's too much. It's too much. Even the big successes really need to be placed in a compartment along with the rest of your life. Barbara absolutely needed to have her own outside hobbies, and her own independence from this girl who was the character in this movie. It wasn't Barbara who built this cabinet. It wasn't Barbara, I'm pretty sure, who got all this stuff together. Like, maybe when she was 14 or 15 she did, because she's only 16 when she died. But all of this, to me, it just doesn't come across that way. She's got all the merchandise, she's got so much here. I think this was Edie again. I think to live a life of glamour, I think, was more Edie's dream than Barbara's, which doesn't make Edie a monster. It just means perhaps that Edie couldn't separate her daughter fully from herself and her own wants. So that's what I think here. I think poor Barbara. And it wasn't... You don't get to act in a movie in a vacuum. Like, at some young age, her parents trained her up into this, groomed her for this. She must have done acting classes, she must have learned how to appear in front of a crowd, she must have worn makeup. She had to learn all this. She must have acted in smaller local events before she hit the big time. Now, maybe all of that was Barbara's dream, we don't know, but it seems odd. I actually know some children who lived, not quite in movies, but who lived a more public life than certainly my family did, and did a lot of performances. And while they did it quite well and quite professionally, they certainly haven't continued that into their adult lives. Like, that is not their dream at all. They did it kind of because their mum was into it. So, okay, it's quite likely I'm projecting onto Edie some of my thoughts about other people that I've met in real life. But, I mean, I think that's all we can do. And I think that that's what this game encourages us to do. You bring your own experience and your own knowledge to anything here, to the narratives that are played out here. So that's my first thought. I don't believe that all Barbara wanted was to be noticed. Except, potentially, that she wanted to be noticed for herself. Not as a child actor. Even Rick, like, if you take that literally, you've got Rick there who is obviously only interested in her because he thinks maybe she can return to fame. It's not for her herself. But I actually don't think Rick exists. So here in her room, we've got a whole lot of stuff that would probably be a wonderful thing if you were a successful actress, maybe. But if that was her big role and she was, I don't know how old she was when she was in that, what, 8 or 9? It's now 8 years later. Why would you still have all this on the wall? Why wouldn't you have gone on and gotten yourself involved in a different life? Taken up new hobbies. Like, I know she's got a horse there. Maybe she was into horse riding. I mean, maybe fashion design was her thing. I'm just looking at the bits and pieces that she's got over here. But I wonder if she was really given a choice. I wonder if she could have been anything else if she'd wanted. And when you look at her books, the books do tell you a lot about all of these children. You've got The Red Carpet, you've got Tales from Tinseltown, A Better You, Shapeshifter, Masters of Cinema, The Hollywood Workout. I feel like all of that is about changing yourself to be someone you're not. And I do feel sorry for her if that's the case. So what I think happened, I think she was babysitting her little brother, although I do wonder where Calvin and Sam were at this point. But she was babysitting Walter. It was Halloween. There was a Halloween thing on the radio. There was a movie on TV. She fell asleep watching the movie on TV. Walter's up in his bedroom. He had the radio on. He got scared. he got scared because he's too young to be listening to creepy radio plays or maybe even hearing the TV from downstairs at his age. So he got scared, he called to her because he was scared. She woke up, went up the stairs, trod on her roller skate and went over the balcony rail. It was her, I think, that landed on that table downstairs. It may even have been her who was already on crutches. So that's what I think happened there. Because up here we've got a picture of dreamy Rick. So I think that is the Rick that maybe she was a fan of, because that looks like a magazine cutout to me. And over here we've got another picture of someone who looks like the same person. Okay, so that is one thought that I have about this room and about how she lived. It's a weirdly small room, as I said. It does kind of look like a lean-to. I know she's got the 2 rooms, but it's very narrow. And when she first came in here, we know she was in here from the start because it's on that map in Molly's room when there were only the 2 girls. So why didn't she get Walter's nice big room? Why was she put in this tiny little place at the edge? It's kind of the room that you would expect your youngest child to have. In fact, Walter probably would have liked this more. So my last thought that I wasn't going to mention because I was trying so hard not to spoil the story, but I think I sort of need to because I think I need to talk about this. It looks to me like this shrine that Edie set up has been vandalised. And I think that it was vandalised by Lewis and Milton. Now, I don't really want to go too much into their stories at this point, not until we get to them, but that is one of Milton's pictures, and I don't think Edie would have liked that at all, having that there. I do wonder if Milton painting on Edie's beautiful displays of her deceased children might have been at the heart of why ever Milton went missing. Like, did Edie catch him and have it out with him and he got scared and left? Was it something like that? So the other thing that I think happened here in this room is I think Lewis spent time here because of...
It's funny. All those times I played with the music box and never found the basement key.
Yes, that's true. We'll go there in a minute. Because of what we've got here, this is not the setup. This is not how it's meant to be. These records are not meant to be on the floor. This popcorn is not meant to be down there. This display is not meant to be like that. And over here, someone has pulled all the birthday candles out and we've got cigarettes. We have cigarettes and we have this over here. I think all that was Lewis. I think it was Lewis who was drinking the alcohol down in there. And like I said, I know it could have been Milton as well, but I actually think that that was Lewis. But I think Milton found the room first. Milton painted the painting. Edie had a go at Milton for it, and later on, when the family was a bit more dysfunctional and nobody was really in the right mind to help anybody else, Lewis started coming here and spending a lot of time here. I have a feeling this was his home away from his own room. So I don't know that for sure, but that is my theory. And, you know, the more I look around, there is alcohol, there is... oh, all of that? I'm absolutely certain of it. Lewis was coming here. For some reason, maybe he found Barbara to be a bit of a kindred spirit, because I think, as we will find when we get to Lewis, he's being pushed into a place that doesn't fit him. He is being pushed into a work role and a life role that doesn't suit at all. I suspect he detected that Barbara was too. Or at least felt that Barbara was too. We've got Edith saying earlier on that she always felt Molly was a girl that she could have played with if Molly hadn't lived in a different time. I suspect Lewis had the same thing with Barbara. Okay, so that's my addition. That's really all I've got to say there, except when we go out of here, and I will go out of here now, we've got a couple of things here that are clearly displaced.
I guess now I know why Mom didn't like me playing with the music box.
And down here we've got this, which clearly came out of Barbara's room. Somebody has brought this down here where all of the bottles are. So yeah, I don't really have any more to say about Barbara's room than that, but that's my theory. I think that's what happened, and I do think Milton defacing this display might have been part of the reason that he vanished. Okay, let's come out. Back to the hall. So what I can look at now, no, it's only got the years. Yeah, there it is. That little moon shape. Here is where the railing is busted. So that did happen. We've got that right here. I don't know why they didn't fix it properly, because when did that happen? I've done it again. I want to know when Swen died. Was it after that or before that? You know, I'm going to very quickly go through here.
I wonder if that
again.
comic was right about there being a key inside the music box near the basement.
Oh no, I can't go back through. Yeah, I'm going there. I wanted to... That's a nuisance. Being pushed there, but oh. I don't think it did. I don't think it gave his date at all. So I don't know when he died anymore. Oh no, it did. It gave a year. But I do think that with every death, Edie got a little bit more unhinged. Whether it was through guilt or through grief or through fear.
Mom said the basement was off limits, unless I wanted another tetanus shot.
Whatever it was, I don't think she's thinking clearly even now. And it's rather sad that society allowed that, but she is away on an island, and obviously Sven allowed it as well, but of course he's in his own grief.
I saw Edie sneak down to the basement once, carrying packages.
I'd like to know what's over there.
I thought maybe she was hiding presents. It turned out she was hiding a lot more than that. I remember asking Mom once about where Walter had gone. She said after Barbara died, he got as far away as he could.
These are amazingly detailed. So well
If there's a
done.
pattern in all these stories, I think it's that none of us has gotten very far.
What's this?
Goodbye, everyone. I can't believe I've been down here for 30 years.
I mean, that's just...
On that
the
first
clock,
day,
12
after
o'clock.
the shaking started, I didn't think I'd survive a week. But after a few days, I settled into a routine. That's what kept me sane. Having a schedule,
1968.
living for today. I always expected to be dead tomorrow.
Oh my gosh. Every
But
time
if you
this
wait
all
long
goes
enough,
down,
you'll be used to anything. Even a monster on the other side of the door starts to feel normal. Almost
monster on
friendly.
the other side of the door.
And then one day, everything just stopped. Whatever that thing was, it was gone. Maybe it got tired of waiting. Or maybe I just got tired of being afraid. It's been a week now, the longest in 30 years. I'm done waiting. I have to leave while I still can. I know it's out there, somewhere. Whatever killed Barbara and Molly and Calvin. Maybe this is all a mistake. But I need to stop living the same day, even if it kills me. Whatever's out there, I want you to know I'm ready for it. I'm going to appreciate all of it, especially the food. I don't mind if I only have a year left, or a month, or a single week. I'd be happy with one new day. I can already imagine the sun on my face.
That one is so horrible.
Walter died when I
everything.
was 6. I can't believe my mom never told me he was down here.
I mean, I don't think she knew. I really don't think that Dawn would have put up with this if she had had any idea. Anyway, that's for the future. But, I think this is the most tragic, and this is one that can't be explained away. Because he was here for 30 years. I think we've got his own words for this. Now, maybe when you're down here, you don't know the passage of days. He could be out, but look at him. Nobody saw him around. He has been gone for all these years. I think he was down here, and as Edith said, she saw Edie bringing parcels down. Now, that could just be groceries down here. We don't know. But I think it has to be true. There is no other explanation. This is his train set. He was making trains. He liked trains. He had trains in his room. This is his sink. I can't really see. It's not light enough to let me see much, but there's a toilet there. That's actually really unhygienic, isn't it? It does look like a toilet. That's a toilet, and then he's got his dishes in there. Let's not think about that. It's all the cooking stuff. And over here...
I'm sure my mom was trying to protect me.
Yeah, I don't think she knew. I just don't. Over here are all his postcards. He was here. He was down here for decades. And Edie was feeding him, and Edie knew it. And that is just inexcusable, of all the different... Especially since... Now, I've heard people say they don't think there was really a train. And I see that too. I'm probably overthinking this, but, this is what you do, especially when something is this impactful. And I really think Walter's story really, really got me. Really got me in so many ways. This was, there's a story here to get everybody. This is the one that really got me. His whole life down here. Afraid of that train on the other side of the wall, and Edie knew it was a train. So if there is a train, and it seems to be, because, well, there seems to be. How did he not know there was a train? If it's that noisy down here, it would be that noisy everywhere. If there's a train, he would know there's a train. If the train line was installed after he came down here, which is also possible, absolutely also possible, the train line might have been installed in that first couple of years, because we saw the calendar on 1968, which was... Seven years after Barbara's death. Now, he was only a child. How old was he? 52. He was 8. He was 8 when she died. So we've got him coming down at the latest at the age of 16. But it looks to me like maybe he moved in here earlier. And Edie and Sven, if he's still alive, but I don't remember now what year he died, allowed it. They allowed somebody that young to come down here because he was afraid. They were complicit, heavily complicit. And if that's a train out there that goes past at midday or midnight, whichever one it is, they knew and didn't tell him. But as many people have mentioned, he's talking about the monster on the other side of the door, which very well could be Edie herself. Edie might be the monster. So it might be, for all we know, my original idea of Edie as the murderess would fit there. Maybe Walter saw Edie murder Barbara. It may be that Barbara actually refused to go back into show business. It might be that it was Edie who got that opportunity for Barbara to try out her scream at the Halloween party, and Barbara actually said, no, I'm done with that life, I hated it, I don't want to be a star. That would have been Edie's dream. I think Edie would have really wanted that. So I could see them arguing over... In fact, even if Edie wasn't just a murderer across the board, I could almost see that happening. Maybe they argued, and maybe Barbara said, I'm not going. That could have happened upstairs. Edie could even have pushed Barbara, and Barbara trod on the skate and went over the rail. It might have actually been that way. Or Barbara had an accident on her way up to see Walter when he'd been listening to the radio. Having heard the stories of the family curse, he was fully believing them because he was a child at the time and was just absolutely terrified knowing that Molly and Barbara and Calvin all died. I wouldn't be surprised if it was after Calvin's death that he came down here, because that's like 3 of his siblings. I really wish offhand I could remember when Sven died. Whatever it is, I just cannot find a way to make Edie the good guy in this scenario at all. Also, I don't believe he was hit by a train. I think the train is because he liked trains and he was building a train, and Edie is very good at incorporating their interest or something they like into their death story. This is his death story, that he was making trains and got killed by a train, which is Edie's thing. And I still think, I don't know for sure, it might have been Sven, but Edie's thing, I would say, of they get killed by the thing they love, which is so terrible to do to anyone. Terrible idea to put into people's heads. But I think the trains had stopped. That's why it wasn't coming, and it had been a week, and I think if it was going to resume, it wouldn't have resumed then, unless he went out at like 5 to 12, so that was the exact same time. But I don't think so. In my original scenario, in the scenario where Edie is the murderer, then I would say that Edie saw him leave, came after him and killed him. Or maybe he just died in here. Maybe it was too much. Maybe it was the lack of sunlight. He might have got sick. I mean, he's washing his dishes in the toilet. Maybe not in the toilet, but in the room of the toilet. He's storing them there. Maybe he is. I know there's a sink there. Like, he could have just died of infection. He could have died of lack of sunlight. He could have died of toxins from the paint. He could have killed himself. So many different ways. In fact, that potentially makes sense, because what he wrote is sitting in here already. We've got the story of him leaving and going out. I don't know how that came about really, but we've got that story which might have come from Edith herself. He doesn't put that in his writing. He's just talking about how he's got to go. I mean, maybe, and here's the happy scenario, maybe he did get away. Maybe he's just dead to Edie. Maybe he wrote that note, he escaped, and Edie is just memorialising him because... I like that thought. But I don't know. I don't know. If he died down here, even if he didn't, that is tragic. His words himself, assuming he wrote that, is that he was down here for 30 years, and it's just inexcusable to allow that. Especially to not tell them, if this story is true in most of its parts, not to tell him that that's a train going past. And since he loved trains, he would have recognised a train track instantly, even after 30 years. He would have known what that was. He's got this pretend window to make it seem like he's got some outdoor life. And his books... Chamber, The Dark Defence, Warding the Spirit. I mean, if he's down here out of fear, who would let him have these books? Books that are just The Finch Curse, Echoes from Afar, like Isolation Syndrome. Who would let him have this material if he's already struggling with this fear? Ghost Trappings Haunted, a guide. I mean, it's terrible. It's just cracking the curse, spiritual warfare. Like, what a world to be living in. Exorcism. I feel so sorry for him. Honestly, this one gets me so much more than any other. I don't think that many people knew he was down there at all.
Maybe she was afraid I'd end up like Walter.
Yeah, she possibly was. It's just terrible. Oh, Barbara Finch.
But if she never
Star.
told me about an uncle under the house... I can only imagine what else she was hiding. I don't want to make the same mistakes she made. Trying to bury something that's still alive.
I mean, whatever you think of his
Now that there's
story,
only one of us left. Or maybe two.
the bunker does exist. There is a sledgehammer hole in the end. There is all the train stuff down there. And there is a train line here. Because this is the reality.
I thought it was time I heard the stories for myself. And found out what happened to everyone else. But now I'm worried the stories themselves might be the problem. Maybe we believed so much in a family curse, we made it real.
That's the thing, isn't it? Is that the truck that they've got parked in the shed outside? Looks very much like it. It also looks like the truck that Molly had her nuclear missiles in. Or whatever they were. I don't understand what happened here. Like, what could do this? You almost wonder if maybe this train line was here from before they built a house. Because they would know if there'd been some sort of track disaster like this after. I mean, who was around then though? Looking at 2005. You'd think that they were old enough. When did he go? He was 11. Yeah, 2003. So he's already gone. Anyway. It's getting dark. It's getting too dark to see.
I don't know if I should even be writing this.
Yeah.
Maybe it'd be better if all this just died with me. But I thought you should know about your family.
So this is the point where it becomes clear that
And the
Edith
history you're a part of.
writing this journal, she's writing her journal like to somebody. So even the stories that we're getting now by being Edith, we're kind of hearing in retrospect, which is yet another layer of potential unreliability. This is the stuff that in Barbara's comic Sven was making in the garage at the time that he hurt his hand. Oh, and there's the pipe that Molly went into as a monster. So she was using things, they were all parts of the world, parts of their world. And that sound, that's
Though to be honest, I feel as lost as you probably do right now.
That's the fairy bell.
I think the people in these stories believed them, for what that's worth.
I mean, I think, right, I don't know. I don't know if they did. I'm not convinced. I'm not convinced that they ever knew the stories. And the reason I think Edie wrote them is because she's the one that spent a lot of time in the rooms, although that's also only according to Edith. We don't know. I do wonder what the point of this was. They had kayaks, maybe they had other boats as well.
And when you look at the house, it had that history of imagination and stubbornness and madness. Any of it seems possible.
I agree with that, because look at the house. That is such a good point when you look at that. Somebody who could put those secret tunnels in and build all of that, like, what was going on in Sven's mind? It was marvellous, but it's kind of childlike and unsafe.
I think we've been surrounded by death for so long, we've just gotten used to it.
And I mean unsafe for
What
others.
kind of family finishes building a cemetery before starting the house?
Yeah, I mean that's a grief reaction there, isn't it? That is Edie grieving
It's
her
embarrassing
father.
for me to admit this, but the pet cemetery made me more uncomfortable than the human one.
I mean, I felt
3 of
that
the
in
gerbils were
past.
mine, and 2 had been my fault.
Yeah. That is Christopher. Christopher died the same month that Molly did. Christopher was her fish. We saw him, he was alive. He died that month. He lived from 42 to 47 and died in the same month. Did they just not feed him? Did they deliberately kill him off because Molly was dead? Like, what is going on there? Cats should live longer than 10 years too.
Sven built the house, but it was Edie who designed the cemetery.
Yes, she had a fascination with death. There's Molly. I mean, I don't know if they're actually buried here. They might just be memorials. They might also be interred in a cemetery somewhere. Here we go, here we go. 1964. That's what I wanted before. So Walter lost. He never knew Molly. He was born after she died. But he lost Barbara and then Calvin. And then his father. All in such a short spell of time. So I reckon it was after Sven died that he went down to the cellar. After Sven died, he went down to the basement. Edie was probably also doing it tough, and maybe just lost her mind at that point. Or maybe she'd lost it long ago, but Sven was keeping her grounded, because that can happen too. And after that, she just had open sway with her neuroses, and maybe there is an element of actual insanity there.
I'm sure Odin's monument had been Edie's idea.
Like, there is no greater curse than somebody who's actually dealing with insanity, with undiagnosed, untreated insanity of some sort. I use the word loosely because it's not really a good word. It's not like we understand better these days. It's not just a generic thing, insanity, but if she had lost her grip on reality in any way, Molly died, Calvin died, Sven died. Who knows what she was like? Who knows what Walter went through with her? Who knows how she started treating him? Was she so afraid that she would lose him too that she put him in the basement? Like, I think that is the most likely thing, that he may not even have been... Like, he would have been afraid, but if she then convinced him that this is a curse and you are in great danger, if your mum says that to you, I reckon that's the most likely. She'd kind of lost her grip. She convinced him that he wasn't safe. She honestly probably believed that he wasn't safe and would be next, and shut him up in the basement for 30 years. And nobody else knew, because who else is around at that point? We haven't got to Sam, but we know from Sam's room. He might have been around at that point. Walter is definitely in the basement from the time that Sam is gone, because as soon as he turned 18 he went into the military. Okay, so Walter must have gone down to the cellar then once Sam went, because he didn't have his protection anymore. I can't get past that story. That is just so awful.
My mom was always trying to move on, but for Edie, the past never went away.
Okay, so we do have Molly here. Not to get distracted, but that's the thing I wanted to look at. We've got Edie is in a very maternal protective position here, keeping her family together and not saving Odin. I'll have to leave this here. I will pick up again later.